Welcome to Azur Lane Meta. Today we are going to be going over the server maintenance on January 16th, 2020. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be going over the maintenance, and while it loads up, I'm just going to go over a brief overview of what we should see during this maintenance period. Usually I go with the official Azur Lane maintenance review, but I found one on Reddit, and so I'm going to use that this time. And if you guys prefer this version, let me know in the comments, and we can make this more common going forward. So what are we looking forward to? Obviously, the Dawning Ceremony events are going to be removed from the game. So now we have not a specific event that comes right into the game yet. We are still waiting for the Muse event, but this update is not going to have that Muse event. So we have, for the first week, we're going to have triple core data campaign, which just means that whenever you do hard modes, you get 3 times the core data. It's just nice. You should be doing your 3 hard modes a day anyway, but especially this week. We get 2 skins, Dewey's a new ship, and Agano, Noshira's sister. We get limited skins for 2 weeks there. We get Chapter 13 finally in the game, so if you don't have AA yet, you should totally get it. Chapter 13 is where we get Dewey, which has the new skin in 13.3, and we have Bunker Hill in 13.4. Bunker Hill is a decent PvE ship, but if you're going to be farming Bunker Hill at 13.4, you already have all the PvE ships that you will ever need. So that's kind of catch-22 there. We also get Chapter 9 hard mode. This is a nice addition for being able to obtain more core data over the long run. We get some new skin voice updates, just 5 of them there. We get Hermes as a retrofit. That's not super relevant to the meta, at least. Unless, of course, you really like torpedo bombers and want to double up on that. And I think the most relevant part that is coming in this change is we get Airspace Control coming finally to the EN servers. It's been in the Japanese and Chinese servers for a little while now. And this is only for PvE, so this does not apply to PvP. But it basically forces you to bring carriers along in the game because battleships were meta. They are the meta. So this mechanic forces you to bring at least a carrier pretty much to all of your endgame content in order to not have the debuffs and potentially get more buffs depending on what level it is. Basically, there's a level of the airspace of the map you're going to be doing, and then a level of your fleet's air capabilities, and if you're a bunch higher, you get all these buffs, and if you're a bunch lower, you get a bunch of debuffs. So starting to bring carriers basically just to be a necessity. So this is where ships like Essex become very relevant, because she's a great option for that AA stat, as well as just being a carrier for air superiority. So that's our update, so we can go back into the game and kind of see what these updates look like. Alright guys, here we are in the game with the patch notes loaded up. So as I just explained while it was loading up, this is the update. We're getting Chapter 13 and 9. So here we go, we get our new load screen, which is the brand new outfits that we get for 2 weeks. We can go take a look here. This is Ogano's new skin. This is Dewey's new skin. And we've already had these, but 14 more days left on the PR2 skins. So here, if you guys want, we have new audio updates to do, and live 2D skins are updated. So if you want to update those audios, go ahead and do that. So here we are, guys, with hard mode Chapter 9. I'm going to be doing Chapter 9-2 because I need cruiser prints. This is the fleet requirements for getting into hard mode 9, so we need an average level of 85, a total firepower of 850, total torpedo of 850, and the recommended aviation strength for the fleet would be 2,000. If we want to take a look here, this is the Airspace Control info. This basically just says higher airspace, you'll get buffs. And I guess this is important, is whenever one of your ships sinks, whatever stats they contributed to your airspace will be ignored, and your modifier will be decreased. So if you have a carrier that sinks, you're going to get a lower, you're going to get debuffed basically. And then obviously fighters contribute the most, dive bombers the second most, and then torpedoes the third most, and seaplanes the fourth most, but almost no one uses seaplanes. So the third option is actually a really important note, is fleets that are not used in battle but are in the sortie are going to still contribute. So putting a lot of aviation in something like your main boss clearing fleet and then having your mob fleet kind of clear through is kind of going to be nice, because you're going to not run the risk of having those carriers sink while you're going through it, and at the same time you're going to get all the benefits of that ACV. So let's build a fleet here. I don't know. We're going to do just Nagato here, because I'm currently grinding for Azuma. Yes, I know I'm slow. Sorry, guys. But I still got to wait for the blueprints anyway, so it's not a big deal. And yeah, I think we'll just try it with just Nagato, and then for our heavy cruiser, we're just gonna do Pasta Fleet, I guess. I don't know. I like Zara. She should be fine. And then for that other fleet, we're gonna do 2 carriers for that ACV, so that our ACV is above the recommended level. And right now we just need some torpedoes. We put in a Magi because, I don't know, there's not too many times that battle cruisers are required. Then we put in Yukikaze to get us over for that general torpedo stat, and this is the fleet we're going to roll with, I guess. So here instantly we see that this Air Supremacy section comes up when we jump in here. So we see that damage airstrikes are plus 20%, and we also see that we decrease the damage we take from enemy aircraft by 10%, and we increase our accuracy by 10% and decrease the ambush encounter. That's probably the one that's going to make me the most happy, is 8% decrease in ambush encountering is going to be great. So our average level here looks to be 103. And let's begin. I'll play it the heart. I'll play it manually for you guys. So I decided to speed up the clips here and just dub over it. I did actually talk through this whole hour of clearing this, basically. One thing to note is here we can see that the translation's not here. So this is very early in the update. They did not even translate it at that point. Reason to note that that's important is a few hours after the update, they did a hot fix in which they changed the way that the Air Supremacy works. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to kind of change the route that I was going with this video, and why it's going to be dubbed over, is because of that change. The fleets that I had planned for this video work differently. So basically they cut in half the player's AVC, so that, you know, when I was setting up my fleets to be right over exactly the minimum amount to get the top bonus, that all got cut in half. So then they kind of got set up differently, and I had different ships in commission, things like that. So I'm actually going to only be doing the Chapter 9 hard mode in this video today. And in a little bit later video, I'll probably do like a best practices or a Chapter 13 clear guide or something, because I had a fleet for my Chapter 13 and it was working well, and then I halfway through the video they did the hot fix and kicked me out of the game, forced me to update, and then I came back in. I was using the same fleet and it couldn't clear the same room. So then I had to have to go remake a whole new fleet and everything. So we're just gonna stick with Chapter 9 here, Chapter 9 hard mode. And so I don't believe the 3 times EX modes in effect at this moment, so because I didn't get it for these 3 runs here. And basically ran just Nagato Zara. Now, like I said, this is before the update of Air Supremacy, so I don't know if that would change this. I know it definitely did change the effect on the Chapter 13 recording, so I'm not even going to be showing that in this video because I didn't have a whole set. It was half and half basically. So yeah, for Chapter 13, the good thing, for Chapter 9 hard mode, the good thing is that it's not too hard to clear. The average level was like 103, and the Air Supremacy was like 2000, which is pretty easy to do with not like a hard top tier meta fleet here. So one of the things I noted when I did it is I just tried to use my mob fleet to go through the whole thing, the 1-1 fleet there. It didn't work. I could do the nodes to get to the boss fleet, but I couldn't actually beat the boss fleet. So I had to actually use my boss fleet for the boss fleet, which I guess makes sense. I was just trying to get greedy there. And the other thing to note is the way that this hard mode is set up is you have your starting locations on either side of this island, and then you kind of have to work your way towards the boss separately. So that actually kind of defeats the purpose a lot of having a mob and boss fleet. But we do end up changing it after I learned that and have to suffer the consequences of a little bit extra oil in this run here. We do learn, that you can kind of finagle your way to have the mob fleet cross over rather than just kind of clear through. And I guess the other thing that I would note is I learned on the 3rd clear of this run that you can actually have 2 starting positions on the same side. So if you're lucky enough, then you don't have any problems here. So there we're just talking about the threat levels. So you're going to have to clear it 4 times, and then one of those times has to be cleared all the way through, and then defeat about 30 enemies, which I think you should be able to do in about 5, at least 6 runs, right? Minimum 6, maybe, no, yeah, minimum 6 runs. But I think is low. I think you could do it in 4. So let's say 2 days for that. And then the threat level to get down to from 10 to 1 would be about 3 days, 3 or 4 days. So it should be it should be 6 days, I think. 2 days to clear, and then 4 days to threat level low. I guess if you're optimal, yeah. So it should be like 5 or 6 days before you can actually do the safe mode, which with the new most recent update, you won't actually have to worry about ambushes, and you can go straight to the boss and not even have to worry about ambushes. So we used to have to worry about ambushes, which did suck, but we're not too much of a problem. And yeah, clear 9-2 for the cruiser prints here, not pulling so many. And yeah, I guess that right there is the bane of the existence for free-to-play players, and just not having enough dock space. And I guess one of the things I do like about this game is its ability to just be friendly to free-to-play players, but Dock space is definitely the section that is not very free to play friendly, but I would say that it's more than warranted. You know, they're friendly in so many other ways, and they give you a bunch of free gems and things like that. So I would just say, note that, you know, if you're going to be free to play, you're going to have to deal with that. And I guess you're not going to have the fleet power if you want to go for fleet power rankings. Fleet power rankings are basically pay to win, because in order to get the fleet power that you need, you're going to need a ton of dock space. So yeah, I guess here we're just clearing it for the second time here. You know, nothing's too difficult in the hard mode. The chapter 13 is actually pretty difficult. I will tell you guys this. The most difficult part about chapter 13 when I was running it was the lag. You'll be at sections where you'll be lagged to like basically a standstill, or you'll be like completely invisible because there's so many planes on your screen. And so that's almost the harder part of trying to play chapter 13, is trying to deal with just that many planes on your screen. Yeah. But yeah, with the new what I don't know, is it a nerf? Yeah, it's probably a nerf. I would go with a nerf. Call it a nerf. With the new nerf to, and I don't know if it was a nerf per se, or if it was they made a mistake the first time. But definitely the first few hours, Air Supremacy was much more beneficial to the player, and now it almost seems like a hindrance in saying basically you need to bring a carrier, rather than like, oh, if you bring carriers, there's a benefit. So that's one of the things that I'd say would change from that update. So be wary if you were online doing your dailies right around when the server came back up, and then you come back later, it's going to be more difficult. And also be in mind that if you're watching this in fast mode here, this is using what I'd call the easy mode, or the error, or the pre-nerf, whatever you want to call it. I don't know exactly what Yostar is going to call it, but basically this is the doubled Air Supremacy. So keep that in mind. And like I said, we're probably going to do, you know, halfway through this video, when I was struggling with chapter 13, I just decided that I was going to make a separate chapter 13 video, and this would just be the update video. You guys can see kind of that difference here. Nagato Zara is actually working a lot better than I thought it would. I did not have a lot of luck in this clear. Not only was it taking me a long time and just like not pulling well, but these ambushes, that right there is my 4th out of 4 ambushes that got hit. So I got hit on ambushes 4 out of 4 times in this recording. So yeah, that was my luck today. Has been not good. We'll just say that. Even with uploading the most recent gift video. So if you guys don't know, for my next subscriber milestone, I have a little gift video that's a little bit different content. It's Azur Lane related, but it's a little bit different than what I usually post. And I spent a lot of time working on it. I think it turned out pretty good. I think you guys will like it. And I was just having problems too. So yeah. So here we go. Like here, this is just proof here that, you know, we tried doing it with this high supremacy, air supremacy stat with this fleet all set up. I was already had a whole video about like what the fleet was, and then they changed it all. And so I need to go back and compare my notes and make sure that everything works and min-max it back to where it needs to be before I want to post anything on the internet. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. These are the server update videos. These are kind of like the raw, almost like stream-like kind of versions, and I just kind of trimmed them down to be speedy for you guys. And that way, you know, you can see day of that an update happens, what has changed.